Hello everybody, welcome to Crone's Magic Corner. I'm Rachel Arazo, your intuitive divination mentor. Happy Friday! Today I'm going to be chatting with you about 5 ways to stop overcompensating when it comes to your readings and how to start being confident in your psychic practice. Let me just refresh the page and make sure that everybody is coming in here good. Hi Amanda! Let me know if you can see and hear me okay. What are you all up to this weekend? Hi, Lauren. Wave. Hi, hi. Hello, hello, hello. We got sound? Yes, we do have sound. Woo! Hi, Maya. Hi, Anna. Hi. I hope everyone is doing awesome. Let me know what you're up to this weekend and how your week has gone. My week has actually been really good, really busy, but very good. I have been creating all kinds of awesomeness behind the scenes. That's how come, if you've noticed in the group, I've been putting up more things on what do you want to learn and where are you struggling right now, because I really want to start focusing on supporting you as a reader and your practice. I want to be able to help you level up so you are constantly tuned in, tapped in, turned on when it comes to your readings. Whether or not you do it for yourself, or you're ready to practice for other people and do readings, or you actually have a business and you just have issues with your confidence. Whatever you're at, I want to be here to support you. So if you see any of those threads here in the group, seriously, scroll down while I'm talking. You can make me really tiny in the corner. Scroll down and let me know what your struggles are, because there's a bunch of threads for it. And I want to be here to support you. Also, a couple of announcements before we even get started. Today at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, me and the lovely Susie are going to be going live in Zoom for our Moon Sister Activation Circle. Those who don't know what that is, every month, me and Susie Zern of Madame Z Tarot, we put on our monthly ritual for the full moon. And because not only am I doing certification and running circles for the Colorado Springs area in person, if you're in my area, come see me. And not only that, but Susie is also doing her circle certification. We run goddess walks and guided meditations and activations every single month, along with tag team tarot readings, so you get a reading from 2 people at the same time. And we go live every new moon to talk with everybody about that alignment. So today we're going to be chatting about the 6 retrogrades. We're probably going to talk a little bit about the 8/8/2018 portal that opened yesterday. Well, not yesterday, on Thursday. We're going to talk about the new moon in Leo and solar eclipse today, because it's the last eclipse of the eclipse season. So energy is ridiculous, and we're going to help you get on through it and become powerful in your practices. I love it. Hi Missy! Let's see. Yes. Hi, good morning, Maya. Anna says, hi, hope all are doing fine. Not much for weekend, actually, not that I know of. Yeah, I'm going to do my best to be really relaxed this weekend and just recharge and just let it all start flowing. Hi, Rebecca. Yes, I'm glad you finally made it to alive. Yeah, and I agree, Anna, the circles are super fun, and there's very high vibe, very intense. So I'm hoping that you come, especially because both me and Susie now, we have a couple special surprises as well for those who come today. It has been an emotional roller coaster with the alignment right now. But that's okay. We will get on through it. And part of that, I noticed that people are having issues with when it comes to this alignment right now, is their confidence. And that's really why I wanted to talk to everybody here. And if you're watching the replay, give me #replay. Let me know that you're watching it, because then I want to know how this is going to benefit you, you know? So I want to paint a picture, first of all, of what overcompensating for your readings would look like, okay? Because this can be done in a couple different ways. So this could be your friends texting you in the middle of the night asking for another reading that they never even follow your guidance on or your advice on in the first place, or you're out and about and you're at work maybe, and your coworkers come up to you and they're like, can I have a free reading? Or can you fit me in for an appointment? They start telling you their life story before you even say yes or no. But you feel guilty, so you just let them go. You just let it run. And you don't say anything about it. Give me hearts or likes, by the way, if you can understand these and you can relate to these, because I feel like this has happened to everybody. Also, if, let's say, you do a free reading, you're at that point where you're confident enough to do practice readings, and, or you get paid for readings, and then the client messages you afterwards asking 1,000,001 clarification questions instead of one, either looking at the reading you gave them, or they're, just because they don't want to pay for an extra reading, they just are like, I don't understand. I just have an extra question that I don't get it. I didn't get clarification on this. So if you get that, but you don't say no because you want to be there for them, you want to be that supportive psychic, and you want to let them know that you are there to help them heal, so you'll just deal with it. Or if you're at that point where you feel like you want to start charging for readings, but you maybe do $5 and then send them 50 pages of pictures and detailed notes about the cards, and you just overdo it because you want to make sure that because it's for a low price, they still get the guidance they need, and then you never hear from them ever again. You know? Let me know if this has happened to you, because I know this definitely happened when I first started reading. I'm going to mute this. And then it's still, every once in a while, I'll get those people that try to start that kind of thing. It's a little bit of emotional vampirism, you know? It's really ridiculous. Hi, Leonie! Maya says all the time. Them spilling their life story. I know! And it's funny because it even gets to that point. Mute notifications. Stop, Can I mute this? Yes, I'm muting the conversation for 24 hours, please. You're giving me pop-ups. It's gotten to the point sometimes where sometimes it won't even be a reading. Sometimes you're just saying hi to the grocery clerk or to somebody at the store, and they just start spilling all the things that they don't like in the world right now, and you're just like... You're just kind of sitting there wondering what in the world is happening, you know? Yeah, and it's happened to Missy too. Yeah, and it's, I had an experience like this the first time. I talked a little bit about this on Monday, where the first time I joined Bitwine. So for those that don't know, Bitwine is a hotline. I work the psychic hotlines all the time because it not only is it good for you to stay in practice when you're teaching others how to read different modalities, but also it's a part of my business. That's how I make money. Because there are people on there who do that as a part of their livelihood. So I go on Bitwine, and when I first started, that was the only one I really used because it was very easy to get on. But I didn't know that it does attract some rough clientele. So I think maybe 99 cents a minute. I think so. And I got this reading from this person who wanted to know the ins and outs of when they'd get a job, wanted to know which applications were going to go through, and just very specifics. And then as I was giving the reading, I pulled like 8 different spreads, you know, like cards over and over and over again to try and get this person the clarification that they wanted. Because it's the people pleaser in me. I want to make sure that they are satisfied with the reading before they leave. And I was excited because I actually got somebody who was going to, because on that hotline you can talk for 3 minutes for free, and then after that they can pay if they want to stay on. So I was excited. I got somebody that wanted to buy a reading from me, and it was rough because nothing I said would satisfy them, which I feel like is also a fear. Let me know if that's a fear of yours, if that's why you haven't started doing readings, because you get those really hostile clients that are really hard to please, or they don't give you all the information and they want you to read their mind because they think that's how psychics work. Let me know if that's happened to you, because it's really, really rough. Especially for new readers that are just like, I just want to make you happy, you know? And that also happened for me when I first started on Etsy, because I had a bunch of readings up by the spread. You can see the people on Etsy that still do this, that do it by the spread. They show you the spread. They give you all the details of everything they're gonna do. Even though customers really don't care about that, they just want to know whether or not you'll answer the question and get them the results that they want. And this lady paid me $11. And I sent her 7 pages with extra questions she didn't even ask. And each page was at least a 7-card spread. And I took pictures of each individual card so she could understand it in like full detail. And I just mapped it out, right? So, hi Jessie. So it's like, it's just like, it really sucks, because you just want to make your clients happy. And what happens when they're unsatisfied, or they don't even give you feedback and just let you run on? It just goes downhill for your confidence, and it makes you feel super, super sucky. So after dealing with this and going through this kind of situation where there wasn't an equal energy exchange, I would feel drained. It's like when I first started reading, I would go on Tumblr and do the free, I would say I'm doing free readings, post a question, and do all the anonymous readings. I do like 10 of them at a time. I'd be so tired and just so untapped, and I'd get people towards the end of it saying, no, it wasn't on track at all. What in the world, you know? So it's like, when that does happen, you get really drained, and you just feel like maybe I'm not meant to be a reader. You know, maybe I'm not meant to tune into my abilities and be in touch with my intuition. And we hear how wonderful it is for healers and spiritualists to be tuned and tapped and turned on all the time, but we don't feel that way. Especially when we start out and we start doing readings and we get a negative review, or we get those really negative Nancy clients that are hard to please, and it makes us want to give up, you know? Let me see. I'm looking through comments. So Rebecca said, yeah, it bummed me out for a while. She didn't get the info I gave. Went back and did another reading and explained the different words. Yeah. Yes, and it makes you feel really low because they don't get it the first time. And there's a couple reasons why that happens, but the blow to your personal confidence, I bet there wasn't anything wrong with the reading. It was just one of those situations. Anna said, sort of, where is the off button? Insert slightly panic face expression. Exactly. You're just like, I don't understand. Maya says, yes, I say, does that make sense? And they say, no, but provide nothing else, and it's still practice mode. Yeah. But I'm like, let's talk. Nothing comes out. They want me to pull the secret out of their head. Yeah. And that's how come I noticed that when I put up the palmistry one, especially, because this happens for all modalities, it's not just tarot. When I put up that palmistry survey, everybody liked the one where I was talking about how to read your client's mind before they even sit down to do a reading with you. Because that's totally possible. And that'll tell you how the reading will go. But, yeah, it's just like, everybody goes and they watch a movie, and if there's a psychic in it, the psychic automatically knows what in the world is going on. They read their mind, it's really creepy, and then they leave the tent and they're kind of dazed, like, I don't understand what happened. So then it's like, they think that that's supposed to happen, that you're just supposed to wow them. Or they watch, what was it, that, like that episode of Being Human, the UK version, not the US version, where they're in one of those psychic auditoriums, and he's calling out people and talking to people's dead relatives and stuff, and they think that's how it's supposed to go. That you don't need any information when not everybody works the same way. So no matter how you get your information as a psychic, we're going to talk about that kind of thing today, and how you, instead of feeling beaten down like that, get really amazing confidence and just get this boost of energy, and it's going to make it amazing for you. Leonie, oh my gosh, I'm going I'm going on Etsy for one of your amazing readings. I appreciate it, Leonie. I appreciate it. Because you are the knees of the bees as well. So, I want to give you 5 tips on how we can get that overcompensating bug to stop. And you can stop putting out so much energy and getting 0 in return when it comes to readings, whether you're getting paid or not, whatever stage that you're at. So, first of all, I want you to get really real with your energy. Tip number 1. And when I say that, I want you to be really, really honest with yourself, okay? Because let's say that you are really great at talking to people about their finances and their business, and that's what you like to do readings on. And then you get a love question, and it feels like it's out of left field, and you have no clue what to do, but you do the reading anyway. And it's lackluster, and you have no clue if you're tapped in at all because you're immediately uncomfortable. So, honestly, get confident about the kinds of readings that you want to do. Do you want to do love readings? A good majority of people don't, because that's 9 out of 10 times that's what people ask you for, whether it's a free reading or a paid reading or whatever it is. So, can you honestly help them with their love life? Or their finances, or contacting their dead pet or relative, or getting to know the energy in their body, because there are those really rare buds sometimes for readings that'll ask you, how am I doing spiritually? I'm working on myself, I want to make sure I'm good. Can you honestly give them guidance for that? And be honest about it. Be honest with them and be honest with yourself. Because if you just sit there and you're trying to be a jack of all trades for all of your readings, then and you fail at it, it's going to make you feel like hell, like you can't do anything, because we think that the ideal psychic, the person that we want to do, or that we want to be as a reader, can do any kind of reading. But if you think about it, everybody really has their specialties. They have their little niche of something that they are, boom, that they fly off the handle for. Okay? So be really clear with your boundaries and stick to it. Get real with your own energy. And part of this also involves taking care of yourself, because if you were like me and you feel like it's just practice, so I'm going to do a thread and do 10, 15 readings back to back, you're going to be so tired by the time you get to those last 5 or 6 people. It's going to be blech. Okay? So you need to get real about that kind of thing. When is my limit? Especially when it's free. If you're being paid, if you're charging for your readings, what is your limit? Okay? Be honest about how much it would take for someone to buy an hour of your time to sit there and do a reading with you. Whatever that price is, that's valid, okay? And you shouldn't have to do things for free and wear yourself out just because you're afraid to say no, you know? So, if you aren't at least taking 2 hours a week to start treating yourself right, you need to start that like yesterday. Okay? You need to start doing it. Okay? Because if I like to give this analogy, if you think of a mother and her newborn, literally a female body cannot produce food for a child unless the mother is rested and her biological, like her chemistry is all good on the inside. She's healing and able to nurture something else while she's healing. She's hydrated and she's slept. She's gone to the bathroom, okay? Think of it in that kind of sense. We are literally helping other people, and it might not be as like a physical thing with a mother nursing her child, but at the same time, it's that level of commitment to healing someone else. You are using your energy or channeling energy, if you're into Reiki and healing like that, to work on someone else, and it's exhausting. So you need to make sure before you sit down at a reading, whether it's for yourself, for a family or friend, or for a paid reading, that you are good, that you are feeling good. Because a lot of the times we think of the spiritual stuff, that you need to have the certifications and you need to have all the abilities unlocked and you need to be clear chakrically and all this kind of stuff. But if your mundane things aren't good, the reading's going to be bunk. And it's going to make you feel like crap, even more than you already do. Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense, if you struggle taking care of yourself before doing a reading. Or if you've been guilty of that before, because I know I have. I've pushed myself. Maya says, I don't like love readings. They want to hear what they want, not what is, I find anyway. Yeah, that does happen. So then you would be really honest with yourself and be like, I don't want to do love readings. Yeah, that would really narrow it down on the kind of people that you would help, but it would keep you feeling comfortable. And that is way more important, because how can you make somebody else comfortable in a reading, especially maybe it's their first time or something, if you, the reader, aren't comfortable at all? You know, it's like going over to somebody's house and the hostess with the mostess is not feeling the mostess that day. The party's gonna go south, you know? So we need to make sure our hostesses are feeling great, or our hosts, you know? So our second tip for how to stop overcompensating and actually feel confident is to stop making excuses. Now, there is a difference. I want to make this really, really clear. So there's a difference between people who literally are unable to put food on their table every night, pay their bills, and have clean water to bathe in and to drink, and take care of their basic survival needs. There's a difference between that, because you can skip this step if that's the stage that you're at, okay? There's a difference between that and making little everyday excuses for why you're not reading, okay? And this is even reading for you, or reading for other people, or actually getting paid for readings, you know? There's a difference between those two things, okay? So, because if you think about it, when we really want something, we're going to go out of our way to get it no matter what it is, you know? If you think of a toddler that's not supposed to touch the stove, no matter how many times mommy or daddy says, don't touch the stove, no matter how many chairs or baby gates or safety locks that you put in their way, they are going to find a way, because they were told no, to get from where they are over to the stove to go touch it. That's how a toddler is. That's how it works. Okay? And yeah, when they get there, they'll learn that it's not such a good idea, but that action does not change, because they will do anything that they need to get over there to do it. It's the same thing. If you have something that you really want, like concert tickets or new clothes or a new job, if you are really, really wanting it, you are out there hitting the pavement to make sure you can get it, you know? And the same thing goes for your readings. If you want to be a reader, no matter what the modality is, okay, and you want to start reading for other people, no matter how uncomfortable you feel in terms of confidence, nothing is going to stop you from accomplishing that goal, okay? That's like someone coming up to you and saying that your business isn't going to work just because they don't like it, and they try to beat you down, and then you get that little flare of, screw you, yes I can, and then you go off and you go do it, so later on you can say, haha, I did it, you know? So, like, the difference here is what you are prioritizing, okay? You have the time to be a good reader. You would just rather sit there on Netflix and watch Sherlock, okay? Or you would rather sit there and read a book and study more instead of picking up the cards to learn how to do it yourself. Ah. Mute conversation, please. Until I turn it back on, pretty please. Bleh. You've got the money for a deck, okay? It's just you would rather, again, there is a difference between if you cannot meet your basic survival needs and just making excuses for stuff. You can go out and buy a deck yourself, okay? You're just prioritizing what you would rather spend things on, okay? You have the energy to start doing readings. There's that thing of, oh, I'm too tired, I've got a house to clean. It's amazing how messy our houses get when we don't want to do what we know we're supposed to do, you know? Okay? So you have the energy to start doing readings. You're just not prioritizing your energy. If you want to make something happen, then you will make the time to do it. So if you've been one of those people, let me know. No judgment zone. Like, I'm not judging you for this because these are very common things. I've made these excuses myself. But I'm going to be a little bit of a hard butt here and tell you that it's time to stop that, especially if you want to start growing your confidence in your readings and you want to get somewhere with your practice. So if you are guilty of this, I want you to pull out your planner, pull up Google Calendar, whatever you do to manage your time, and set some time, at least an hour, 2 hours this week, to do readings. Whether for yourself or someone else, start making plans. Okay, if that means texting a friend and saying, hey, can I practice on you? Or going live here in this group or another Facebook group to do some practice readings, go for it. Put yourself out there. Get started, okay? Because you being worried about all the other things you gotta do, if you really, really want to do readings and you really want to be a reader, it takes practice and it needs your time. It needs you investing in it, whether that's energy-wise or money-wise, and it takes actually doing it and taking that first step, you know? Hi, Kaylee. Does that make sense? Does anybody have questions about that kind of thing? Because again, I'm trying to make it really distinct that there's a difference between if you can't meet your basic survival needs and get food in your belly and take care of everything, and just putting it off till later, you know. Leonie going on the lines tonight and in the studio tomorrow morning. Good! Because Leonie's a boss. And she gets things done. Yes! Awesome. Makes sense. Wonderful. So, third tip on how to stop overcompensating and actually being confident in your practice is loosening your attachments. Now, already this sounds kind of like out there kind of spiritualist, but let me really break this down. We've got a nasty habit of attaching our emotions and our beliefs and our personal self-value to the outcome or result of things. Okay? If we do a reading or and get a negative review, or we get a nasty client that's sending us really weird messages, or we get really clingy people that won't leave us alone, or we get zero feedback at all, what would happen if that actually happened? Okay? Just think about that for a second. What honestly in your life would change if things didn't turn out the way that they wanted to when it came to giving a reading for somebody and they were negative? The world would keep spinning. You would keep breathing. I hope. I would hope you keep breathing. Children somewhere in the neighborhood would start laughing still. They would still be laughing. Cars would still run. Rain would still fall if you have rain where you are. Okay? Okay, the sun would keep shining. We would still have a new moon in Leo and solar eclipse today. Okay? Things would still keep going. Okay? And there would always be a new reading after that you could try again. Okay? So, if you're going to let the potential outcome of something that could happen, you know, I could go on a live in a group, it's something I've never done before, and I could do readings for someone, and I could get a really nasty client that's being really mean to me in the middle of live, and I'm on the hotspot, and I have no clue what to do. That could happen, but what would happen after that person is gone? Or if that person never shows up? Okay? But part of us being psychic is we want to see literally every single little outcome. And I'm sorry, but unless literally your abilities include you seeing across all multiverses and seeing literally every little outcome that could happen, which I pray for you because your head must really hurt for that to be happening. But if you can see literally every single outcome, then maybe you can worry about that. But besides that, no. Don't stress yourself out. You are giving yourself unnecessary anxiety just because you're freaking out. And honestly, in the grand scheme of things, are you going to remember every tiny little person that does not like you or does not resonate with your reading in 5-10 years? Probably not. If it's your first one, yeah, maybe you might remember that experience, but you might remember more how you handled it and what it did to you, not necessarily every single detail about that person, okay? It's really just a tiny little bump in the grand scheme of your tarot reading or rune reading or psychic reading journey, okay? So don't let it stress you out. Loosen your attachment to it. We all want really wonderful readings. We all really want things to go fantastic for us, right? But that doesn't always happen. And that's when you're just like, whatever, brush yourself off. Let's go do another reading, you know? Let's keep going. There will always be really rude people that do not like you. There will always be people who do not mesh with your message, okay? Just like there's always going to be off days. You're going to wake up some mornings and not feel tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and your psychic abilities are going to be bunked that day. That happens. But you need to be kinder to yourself about it and don't attach yourself to what could happen. And if something bad does happen, start loosening that attachment. It happened. I'm not going to let it taint my energy. I'm just going to keep going. Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense. Give me hearts or likes if you can understand that. Christina, I love this orange color on you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Christina also says the consequence of not doing things and living with the regret for not taking a chance is so much more painful than the possibility of a problem. Exactly. Just, yes. The what if is always worse. This is, if you think about this, this is what keeps people from doing a lot of things in their life. This is what keeps people from getting married and starting any kind of relationships. This is what keeps people from leaving the house or having children. That fear of childbirth and that pain is enough to keep people from never wanting to have children, even though they'll never experience that pain because they've closed it off, right? It's always worse in our mind than it is in actual experience, okay? So it's a matter of you need to start loosening to your attachment of what could happen. Just focus on, I'm going to put myself out there and I'm going to do this and I'm going to get started. We need to get you started, right? Hi, Susie. Let's see. Christina says, if you have $1,000, do you stress over dropping a $10 bill? No, you don't. You know? And a lot of it is mindset like that. You think of every tiny little thing, but if you have fantastic results with reading for other people, why are you going to stress about the one thing? It's like that whole thing people were freaking out for the new Etsy rollout where they show it like Amazon. So if, let's say, you have 800 reviews and you have 2 negative, people are freaking out because now you can clearly see how many negative reviews someone has. When really it's like, no, in comparison to the 800 positive I have, those 2 negative aren't going to be that bad. And yeah, people could click on those and see directly what their problem was with me. But then they can also click on the positive ones and see how many wonderful things people have to say. You know? It's not that bad of a deal. We're just psyching ourselves out. Leona says, oh gosh, Christina, I was just saying to my mom, I so love your fan. Thank you. Yeah, all my fans, my big fan up there and all back here. So, start loosening that attachment because it's going to save you so much headache. Okay? Okay, so tip number 4 on how we can get you to stop overcompensating in your readings and being that people pleaser and overdoing yourself and start building your confidence instead when it comes to your practice is to work smarter and not harder, okay? I've talked about this before, specifically with spreads, right? If I'm at a family dinner and we got 15 people talking at the table and everybody's passing collard greens and hog maws all over the table and I have no clue where the food is going, little kids are screaming and I'm confused, I'm not going to enjoy the dinner as much, right? And then maybe every once in a while I'll hear two people that are prominently screaming at each other from across the table, but it's not going to be as fun, right? It's different than if I were to go to dinner with 3 or 4 really good friends. Then we are all engaged in the conversation. We can all see and hear each other so much better, and the connection is made a lot more. It's also the difference, for example, for those that are hard of hearing. Just to give another example besides that. If all the tables, for example, when I was getting my American Sign Language minor, they would all be facing the front of the room, right? That's typically how it is in a school. We all face one direction. Problem with that is not everybody can see each other's hands or look each other in the eye. So what would have to happen in order to make a better conversation is my ASL teacher, who was deaf, she was hard of hearing, turned all the tables so they would face each other. Okay? We would have to practice looking each other in the eye and actually communicating like that, because you get more information. We can actually see what in the world is going on. The same thing happens with your practice. If you are pulling 10, 15 extra clarification cards, stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. You're just confusing yourself, okay? Because think of how many cards you actually do pull. How many hours do you spend pulling a card, then going on Google to go look at somebody else's website, or all the plethora of tarot books, okay, that you have with everybody's different understandings of keywords and what they mean for certain cards, and going into 15 different Facebook groups to ask the same question. Literally, I can see it. It's copy pasted and it's in every single group, about what this card means to them, and then you get 100 people each, and it's just too much stuff, okay? You are pushing yourself to absorb so much information, and not in a good way. You're focused more on how other people think this card is instead of just you. You're focused more on what other people think this line means on your hand and not you, okay? Now, for some modalities, I can understand, like, for example, palmistry. That one is very minute. Usually, it means the same for all the different lines. But the symbols just stay the same in the area. The hands stay the same, but if you move the symbol in different places, it's going to mean different things, okay? And you're not going to figure that out until you actually do the practice yourself, and you actually stay on top of it, you know? Or, you know, if you have 15 different cards on the table, you're not going to scroll down. You're not going to understand what in the world's going on because you're paying too much attention to so much imagery, okay? So work smarter, not harder. Simplify it. Use 3 to 5 cards or runes, okay? Ask one question and then maybe pull 3 cards or 1 card. Don't overdo it. Don't put yourself all the way out there. It's like if you're brand new and you're trying to do a Celtic cross on a simple yes or no question. That's really silly. Don't do that. You're just going to stress yourself out. And you're going to get mad at yourself because you are not as advanced, quote unquote, as you think other people are. Okay? Just breathe. It'll be okay. All right? And because there's also a difference between challenging yourself. So, for example, if you're just doing it for study, if I were to pull the Emperor and look at the Ankh that he's holding, because it's an Ankh, not a staff. It's an Ankh. And I were to go and look up different Egyptian mythos and see what the Ankh would mean for them, and see if there's anything else throughout society where that would show up. There's a difference between that and having a crutch on 1,000,000 books on your desk and papers everywhere and attending 15 free webinars to talk about 1 card. There's a difference. You're overdoing it. Too much information overload, and you care more about what other people think, and you're going to follow that and use that as a crutch than let your intuition grow up on its own. Don't do that. Okay? Don't do that. Lena says, hi everyone. Hi. Sorry I blocked my mom's home. With vertigo, can't go back home for now, so I can't watch the live. That's okay. I hope you have a happy weekend, Lena. So this is great. Now I'm hungry for some soul food. Come visit me, Susie. That's literally my grandparents' house. Hog maws, pig feet, chitlins. Yuck. That's literally their house. Come visit me. But it's really more time to start listening to your inner voice, okay? Trust that more. Sit down with a journal, and if you get stuck on a card, write out all the images that are standing out to you first, or the color palette, or a movie if it pops in your head, or a book or a song, things like that. Do those first, and then go ask for help. Okay? And I know a lot of people in here are actually really good at this. But if you have a habit of using other things like that as a crutch, stop it. You're ruining your confidence before it even grows, you know? Blah, chitlins. Yeah. Nope. Hi, Kimberly. So, tip number 5, okay, on how to stop overcompensating and actually be confident in your practice. So, let's say you are ready to start charging for readings, and someone like me pays you $11, and you feel so guilty. It doesn't matter how poor you are, or how broke you are, and how much you need that diaper money, okay, or that food money, or how much, whatever situation you're in, you feel so guilty because they gave you something they earned, and that could have gone towards something else. And so in order to make up for it, you give all this filler, you ask extra questions, you give 15 extra cards, you give them a meditation, you send them Reiki with the cards when they did not sign up for that or give consent. You feel so indebted to them, you overdo it. And then they receive it and they're like, whoa, that's a lot for $11. I'm just going to push that into the back of my hard drive and never take a look at it again. You've screwed yourself over, okay? Because that's literally what happened from my first paid reading, and never heard from the chick again. Never again, because I did too much, okay? Think of it in this way. A construction worker who stands on the side of the road and holds a sign for 8 hours today is going to be paid just as much as someone who is laying the cement on the sidewalk, okay? A baker whose job is to stand up front and hand out donuts in the little box and give it to him is going to be making just as much money as the person in the back sweating with all the hot ovens and is covered in yeast, okay? We have grown up in a society that believes hard work gets reward, okay? We feel like we need to break our backs, and I totally get this. I grew up in a family of hard workers, okay? My great-great-grandfather was a slave and he bought his freedom, okay? My great-grandmother, she worked so hard in Chicago, she has one of the frickin' libraries named after her. Helen Burnett, look her up. She's in Chicago. My grandmother was one of the first black women to actually graduate and go to college in North Carolina, okay? My grandfather was in the Army. He went to Vietnam. And then when he came home, he baked at the Olympic Training Center here in Colorado Springs. And then him and my grandmother had a business for 25 years doing catering and baking cakes for weddings. Everybody in my family's a hard worker. My aunt's a lawyer, okay? Like, there is no laziness, okay? At all. We get up at 6 a.m., we go to sleep early bedtime so we can get up early the next day, okay? My grandmother says she's got the royal keys to the royal door, okay? But she shows up early before everybody else does. Hard work runs in my blood. I feel more comfortable wearing a tank top out in the heat, carrying 15 sacks of potatoes going up and down the street, and heavy lifting stuff than I do sitting here working at the computer all day, even because it feels too easy sometimes. But here's the thing about this. We think of our dream careers. We think of our hobbies and the things we love to do. They're supposed to be easy. They're where you relax. It's where you're in your element, right? So we need to get out of that mentality of we need to break our backs in order to receive any kind of compensation. And let's say you aren't even doing readings for pay, like getting paid. Let's say someone sends you a gift as a thank you for a reading, or they get you food, or they do something for you in exchange. We feel guilty for that equal energy exchange, and we need to stop doing that because we need to know our worth, okay? We have put in the hours. How many books have you bought and how much were they? How many decks do you own and how much were they each? How many courses and certification programs and trainings and workshops that you have paid for? And how many hours have you sat there and done readings for yourself or family or friends or clients if you're taking clients? Okay? Add all that up. You are way more worth your time than you give yourself credit for. So, start knowing your worth. Set your boundaries. If you don't want someone messaging you at 2 a.m. asking for card readings, tell them, I'm sorry, if you want me up this early, you better be paying me out so much, okay? You better be paying me a lot to have me up at 2 a.m. pulling extra cards for you. You're interrupting my beauty sleep, okay? If you want to handle having those negative clients because they do pay well, then you need to start upping your prices. You need to be paid according to your worth, okay? And actually, you need to start seeing the value in who you are as a reader and how much you bring to the table. This is also why I believe and why I keep mentioning that if you research and you have a degree in something, all of us has our own reading style. And just because we're reading cards or runes or palms or whatever we're doing or scrying, we are bringing that knowledge with us to the table. We can't take that chunk of our brain and go have it sit somewhere for a minute. We're going to bring it with us. So if you are a scientist and you are very logical and you're going to think of Pythagorean's theorem and chemical reactions and biology while you're sitting there doing a reading, fabulous. Use it. That is going to be what makes you special. If you're in theater, like me, you are going to bring characterization and stage positions and costuming and lighting and color palettes and set building and props masters and stage managing and organization and all kinds of things to the reading that's different than somebody else. And that makes you 100% valid, and that makes you more than worth whatever you're going to charge or whatever time you decide to put into a reading. Value yourself more. And if you say, but Rachel, I don't have a degree, I don't do all that kind of stuff, there is something about you that makes you special. And that time that you sit there and you do that reading or you make that mala or you make those meditations and do that healing could be spent somewhere else. Could doing something else. Okay? So how much is that time worth to you? Okay? If I have done customer service jobs. I used to work for Visa Black and Barnes & Noble credit cards. I used to sit there on the phone and eat popcorn and help people with their payments for $10.50 an hour. And a lot of the times it'd be me sitting there twiddling my thumbs, talking and playing blackjack with people around me, okay? I have sat there with my arms up like elbows deep in freaking sewage and lint, cleaning bedrooms and AC vents and toilets at hotels. And I worked hard. I've worked at McDonald's. My hands have been burnt from the frickin' fries that take 3 minutes to sit in the grease. And I've gotten paid more than I ever paid myself when I first started doing readings. And honestly, with how much energy I put into what I love, I know my worth. So think about it in that kind of sense. If you're going to break your back over something else and let someone else be your boss, but you want to do client readings or you want to do a practice reading, see maybe this could go somewhere, treat your worth. Set your boundaries. Okay? Treat yourself good. So, I want you for this particular one, if you are having issues with this kind of thing, to write down your beliefs about what it means to work hard. Okay? Journal about it. I'm big on journaling. Pull out a piece of paper or go on Evernote and just start typing. Okay? And relate that to what you want to do for your practice. Let's start breaking those blocks down, because when you start valuing yourself, you're going to start leveling up. Your confidence is going to go up, your solar plexus is going to get healthy, and all that gunk is going to get out of there, and you are going to be amazing at your practice. Right? Does anybody have questions? Because I know that was my rant thing. I'm off the soapbox. Let me see. Susie says, these are some really great tips. Thank you. I'm glad. I wish I had a tarot mentor like you when I was starting out. I appreciate it. Susie says, as healers, we always overgive to our clients. If you want a tarot reader on retainer, you got to pay for it. Dollars. Okay? You be worth my time, you know? And this is the kind of stuff I want you to start thinking about, because this is exactly what I lead my coaching clients through. Okay? Let's figure out where you're feeling weak. Let's start building it up. Let's break down those money blocks and those self-worth blocks and all that kind of gunk. Let's start working at it. Okay? Because that is going to help you level up not only just your practice, but the rest of your life. If your self-worth starts going up in one area, it trickles out. You notice how when your house is nice and clean, how the rest of your day just really starts flowing. Okay? And it feels so much nicer. Or when you start off your morning and you get to go to Sonic and you get to have, the half price drinks before you go to work, how the day just seems to flow a little bit easier. That kind of thing, When you start yourself off feeling good about your practice, it's going to make everything else really, really nice. Hi, Inger. Hi, Caitlin. So, what I'm going to give you to help with this is tomorrow, if you are not on the newsletter, if you're not on the newsletter for the group so that you get updates and you get notifications about stuff like this, you need to join it, okay? Go to the pin post and go join it. But tomorrow, I'm going to send out a checklist for how you can have an awesome reading. Okay? The headline is going to say, here's your checklist to have awesome readings. Okay? That's literally what it'll say. I'm going to send you this. And it's literally everything that you need to have an amazing reading. And before you sit down to do a reading, whether it's for yourself, a friend, a family member, a dog, or whatever pet that you want to do, or a paid client, especially a paid client, you need to run through this checklist and make sure you're good. Because that's going to make sure that you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on. That's going to make sure you feel worth whatever you're charging, whatever equal energy exchange you have set up. And that's going to make sure that the reading goes smoothly. Okay? And if it doesn't, if you get that nasty client, which you shouldn't with this checklist, you should only be getting those clients that are actually going to be really great and have a fantastic conversation and let it flow. If that does happen, you'll be able to let that roll off your back and move on to the next person. Okay? You can use this especially at fairs or if you're sitting on the hotlines or whatever you're doing. Okay? Absolutely, you can do reading on animals. Yeah, Rebecca, you can absolutely do that. We have people in this group. Chelsea does that. Maria does that. They do readings on animals. Shoot, they friggin' use it on lions and tigers and bears because they work with the zoos and they're animal guides. Amanda here does Reiki healing specifically for animals. I've done mediumship readings for past pets and fur babies. I think I did a bird one time. You can absolutely do that. You know, and it's whatever modality you use. If you like to do automatic drawing and writing, this can absolutely work the exact same way. This is not just limited to tarot readings or working with humans, okay? This is any kind of modality. Yep, and tarot. You're all good. And you can, if you're asking if you can do tarot readings with animals, you can definitely do that. You can literally, there is no limit. The only limit is the boundaries that you give yourself. So if you find out that your soul clients and your soul readings are for doing animals, go for it. I encourage it. And if you don't know how, let's find some research. Let's get some things flowing for you, and we will get you started on the right foot. You know? Does anybody have questions? Because I went through a lot of stuff today, and I gave you a lot of information, you know? I will keep an eye out on the comments. And seriously, this is a no judgment zone. Okay? If you want to ask, go for it. And you know what? I know that a lot of people are trying to level up their practice, and it can be really scary when you do have a group like this, okay? Or even later on when me and Susie, it'll be over Zoom. You'll get an email with the little link, and I'll post it here in the group. When we talk about the new moon stuff, it can be really intimidating because you're afraid to put your dirty laundry out there and share your blocks and things like that. So if you want to know how I can help you and how I can help you level up your practice and we can work on breaking down your blocks, I want you to sign up for a 30-minute chat with me, okay? It's just us. We'll talk, have a cup of tea, and I want to get to know your practice and how I can support you. And you can find the link to my calendar. Bloop. You can find a link to my calendar in the comments right there. Come talk to me. You know that I'm here. You know I'm the least judgmental person that you could probably talk to ever. And it will be fun and it will be very relaxed, okay? Come tell me about your practice. Let's see. Missy says, thank you. You're very welcome. Anna says, I'm good at the moment. Thank you so much for all this. Fantastic. Kelly says, not from what I've heard. I'll catch the first 20 minutes on replay. Oh, yeah. Do that and let me know if you have questions. Rebecca says, oh, this will change my whole, as animals are my main focus for me. Thanks so much. Very welcome. Yeah, there is literally, like I said, no limit to what you can do. And seriously, if there's something that has to do with something that really craves for you, one of the threads in this group is to actually go and is to tell me what modalities you want to use, because I have something special that I'm going to be announcing next month on the 15th that will fit you perfectly, okay? So do not be afraid to tell me what you want to learn. I am here to support you, okay? I'm glad that you got some clarity and you've got the light bulb moments. That's what I live for. Anna says, it's an awesome opportunity. Had one recently. Yeah, me and Anna talked. Me and Leticia talked, Lena talked with Lauren. I talked with a bunch of you. I talked with Maria in person and on Zoom because she's in my area. I talked with Hyacinth and Lauren. I talked with a bunch of people. Come talk to me. Aw, mwah. There you go, Strider. I hope you're having an awesome day, little man. Let's see. Leonie says, I'm so fine and you're so good. We'll talk soon. Wonderful. Fantastic. Fantastic. All right. If there's no questions, like I said, I will be back here with, actually, I will be on Zoom with Susie tonight at 4 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, 5 p.m. Central. There will be a link that goes up an hour beforehand, not only to your email, but for those on the list. You got to be on the list to get it. And here in the group, if you want to come join us, we're going to be pulling some cards. We'll talk about the alignment, and we're going to be getting us flowing for the for our ritual for this month. Okay? All right. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. I send you all of the love. Just Care Bear stare. All of the love and happiness to you. All the abundance and clarity. Go be confident in your practices. And let me know how it goes. Bye, guys.